Man, I just don't know if that's going to work. I hope it does, but it makes me laugh every time I do it because it just doesn't seem like it's going to work. But I'm really excited to edit this video because I have finally done everything right as far as having 2 camera angles with a guest in studio. I did my little clapper there to align the audio, but again, it doesn't make enough of an imprint on this audio file for me to truly believe that I'm going to easily be able to line it up, but we shall see. I had good friend and special guest in studio today, Josh Jeremetrius ARBOGAST of the Michigan Whitetail Project on Instagram and Facebook. If you don't know Josh, I'm shocked. Josh is very outspoken currently on the state of whitetail hunting in our great state of Michigan. And he is a devoted advocate for bettering our resource. Whether you agree with him or not, the man has a voice. The man is putting in the work. The man is passionate, and he truly cares for our resource and bettering the herd health here in our state and for generations to come. Again, whether you agree with him or not, I do not think you can deny that he is a passionate person whose heart is in the right place. I don't think you can deny that. Again, I don't think you have to agree with him to say that he is doing it out of pure love of the game. And I had Josh over, and we talked a little bit about where that comes from. His being a leader and or starting this brand, this movement, if you will, this collective to bring awareness and get people engaged in our bettering of the resource. And so Josh came over on a Tuesday, and we hung out and we recorded, and I feel like it went really great. And he's got a great personality. He's very knowledgeable. He's very well spoken, and we had a good time today. So I hope you enjoy this podcast with Josh ARBOGAST of the Michigan Whitetail Project. We have a coming up next, and by the way, and a very important meeting on Wednesday, April 8th in Lansing. That will be the meeting where they make their recommendation on how we move forward with the whitetail licensing and or regulations for 2026. There's a lot of things they could or could not do, but April 8th is the date that it will be presented. The meeting in May is when the vote will occur, but it is important that if you have been longing to go to a meeting, this April 8th one, Wednesday, April 8th, I think it's 9 or 9:30 in Lansing, will be the one that you should make an exception at work and try to get there. And again, I'm not saying that you have to be one way or the other, but if you feel like you want to be present, you want to have a stake in this, that's the one you want to be present for. So thanks again for listening, everybody. Thanks for reaching out and sending emails and nude pictures of your brother and my brother and everybody's brother and mother and sister and uncle. And thanks everybody for doing all that. The interaction's been fun and great. And we're just getting started. So hope you enjoy this episode with Josh coming up next. See ya.
So I did Hunter podcast.
You did?
I did, yeah.
When was that?
Thursday.
Will you pull that closer to you? I want to just see. You can. Realistically, that one needs to be in your business.
Okay.
You may have to scooch in. That again. Everything's rinky dink here.
No.
And you can lower that if you want. Leak your seat.
No.
If it helps you get under the table. I don't have the super nice headsets like Blicey.
That's all right, So yeah,
it's on the shopping list though.
I bet it is. What'd you say? You got a?
I have a spending limit on Amazon. I really don't.
I caught that.
I mentally do. Just for personal satisfaction, I don't want to spend $500 a day because it's easy to do.
Oh, quick.
Yeah.
You're like, when did I buy like 6 packs of fucking Lipton iced tea?
Yes.
It's like, shit. What did I do that for? Dude, before we had that event Saturday, I went on Amazon and I was like, well, I need more brochure holders. And I'm like, well, why the fuck did I order 3 of them? Like, just ordering shit,
I want to try something.
Yeah.
I watched Blicey do this. How the fuck am I going to see that? I can't see that. So he did that when I went there, and I was like, what the fuck did he do? Did he just clapper sync everything together? And I realized what he did was he puts this, it basically puts a little marker in the recording to know where to line everything up.
Okay.
And I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pick that out more than anything else. But we're going to try it. I'm going to try to get all professional here.
That was his quirk.
Yeah. I was like, man, this dude's so fancy. He's got like the clapper and it turns everything on at the same time. And then later on, I was like, no, he just set a little marker in there. So, because I know when I go to line up the video, trying to line your mouth up with this recording is a nightmare. So maybe that will help me. I don't know. But you were saying you did the Hunter podcast.
Oh, yeah. So they sent me a message and they were like, hey, I'd like to have you on and talk about.
I think that's cool. Like that's a big podcast.
Super cool. And I was like, I'm like dealing with some stuff at work. So I'm taking a lot of time off. I'm putting a lot into this. And my boss isn't exactly like the coolest guy on earth. So, like, I was like, give me a minute. Like,
he won't listen to this.
No. I was like, give me a minute. Like, let me figure out some logistics of it, what days I could take off or whatever. And he's like, all right, yeah, no problem. So I'm sitting down at the work table at work. I was like rebuilding some lights or something. I can't remember what I was doing. My phone rings and it said Des Moines, Iowa. And I'm like, hello, who is this? I'm like, what's up, boss? I'm like, who's calling me? He's like, who do you think it is? This is Skip. I was like, oh, so it was
so casual.
Yeah. Who do you think it is? So, I'm talking to him about it, and I was like, Hunter he was like, you wake your ass up at 4 a.m. and you could be there by 8. He was like, you need to start making a statement, getting these studios. And I was like, all right, it's a good point. He said it makes a better statement if you're in studio recording with people. And I was like, okay. From a perception, I understand that. Like, seeing is believing type thing,
I never thought of it that way. I was thinking of it more along the lines of the interaction, the give and the take is different. Like I can read your body language as a host. Yeah. I can read your body language. I'm not going to step all over you. When you're doing Zoom stuff, it's not as easy, especially if for some reason the video cuts out and you can't see you. If you're just on audio, it's hard to not step on somebody's words as a host. But when you're in person, the conversation flows better. I can read your body language. I can say, oh man, I said something that he didn't like. I'm going to back off of that content. But also it shows that you're willing to exhaust yourself for the cause.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think that's kind of what.
Whether you're truly physically exhausted or not.
Yeah.
It shows that you're willing to put in the legwork to get the word out for something that you truly believe in.
Yeah, I think so, for sure. And that's like, so Wednesday night, I'm like, all right, left work at 8 o'clock. I drove down to just south of Pittsburgh where they're at. It's like 5 hours. Got a hotel at 3 a.m., crashed for 4 hours, got up, went in studio with them. And then, when I woke up that morning, I text work. I'm like, hey, I'm really not feeling good at all. So not coming to, here I am sitting in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
But, and that's not like a character of mine. I'm not like a call into work guy, nothing like that. But right now and where we're at, like to Skip's point, he was like, you got a once in a lifetime opportunity right now to actually make a difference. You have the momentum. Now's the time to get it over the finish line. I'm like, he's been a huge help throughout all this because they've done it, they've kept control of what they're trying to do. So just having him like, all right, next steps, here's how you keep it once you get it. Like just having that knowledge from somebody that's done this, it's been a big help, man.
Yeah.
And it goes a long way.
It does. And if anybody's listening to this that doesn't know who this is, I have on the podcast today, Josh ARBOGAST, who is taking time out of his Tuesday to come hang out with me in my basement. Again, I'm really setting a precedent here. I'm inviting a lot of people over to in my home. If this is something that you want to do, get in touch with me. And if you're local or not local, we just talked about this. I love having people over. Pretty soon, Beefcake Studio will be back and open once the weather cooperates. But if you want to come over and do this, I encourage people to come to my house and record with me. Josh, thanks for coming over today, man.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. I feel like you're doing the Lord's work. And we talked about, you did a podcast yesterday with Aaron on the fall podcast. What'd you say? You've done 5 recently?
I've done 3 in the past 5 days.
Oh, 3 in 5 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
And an event in between.
Yes.
So did like a charity event, had a booth on Saturday, all positive interactions, like really cool experience just to talk to different hunters and get their perspective on things. And
where was that at?
That was at the Crimson Hills Event Center in Washington.
Oh, so east side.
Yeah.
East side.
Yep.
Okay.
Interesting. Not super far.
No.
It was really, so the archery shop that's local to my house, who I had never really been a customer of before. I had bought a bow there years ago, and then the archery tech left, and I kind of started going to Sunrise over in Fenton over here. Great guys, like Derek
definitely know their stuff.
Oh God, yeah, wealth of knowledge. So I started going over there, and then I think the archery tech from the shop, Holly, she posted like a reel from ATA, and somehow it ended up on like my Discover page. And I was like, oh, like more archery's doing like reels and stuff now, like a little bit different outreach for them. So I followed their page, and then she ended up sending me like a message and was like, hey, what's this whitetail project? What's this about? What do you represent? Talked to her about it, and she's like, a little bit of small talk, and then she said, well, we're gonna start having some like small community events. Would you want to be a part of it? And I was like, absolutely. Not a formal organization by any means, right? I'm just a guy that has a page for outreach. And she's like, yeah, no problem. Send you some information. And I went up to the shop, and we met and we talked about it, and then I ended up buying a bow from the shop.
Nice.
So yeah, you sold me a bow, But when they had this event, it was a charity event for Michigan Sportsmen Against Hunger. And I don't know what kind of small event this girl thought she was putting on.
I saw pictures.
Dude, so nice. Like, they sold like 300 tickets. The meal was fantastic. Rosemary chicken and roast beef, in case anybody's interested, potatoes, like just real good. Cash bar. I think I talked to her last night. I went up there as she was planning another one.
Okay.
I think they did like 15 grand for charity or something.
Man.
Yeah.
What was the charity? Do you recall?
Michigan Sportsmen Against Hunger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
very cool.
That was it was just really nice and really cool. But we were there, that was my first time I've ever done an event like that. I'm not like a TAC guy, so I don't go to TAC. I'm not, I do go to like certain shows, but I don't go to banquets. I say that as I just came back from the Iowa banquet, but I don't go to any of this local banquet stuff, You came to the meetup last year. I did, yeah. That was a little different. That was that was a bunch of guys hanging out. I'm down for that, for sure. But I've just never really got involved in like the sportsman's club thing or anything like that.
Why?
I don't feel represented. And
interesting.
Yeah, so
I know what you mean, but I won't expound on that.
Yeah, so at one point when I started hunting years ago, I joined NDA. I've had this feeling of change for a long time. Like, I've always wanted something different for Michigan, and was like trying to figure out how to get involved for a long time. Didn't know the process, didn't know anything that like we know now.
What is the NDA?
National Deer Association.
So I had you do that because I know that my brother's going to listen to this and go, the fuck is the NDA? So we did that for people who may not know what the NDA is.
Okay. And I'm not knocking the NDA.
Sure.
But here's what I realized is when I joined the NDA, I got, some articles in my email, a few different a lot of information about how to manage your own herd or herd dynamics, and nothing bad, all good, all positive stuff. But I wanted something like, how do I get involved? Like, how do I make a change? Me personally, how do I make a change? Correct. Not an email. And I not saying I could have got deeper into it, but that was the last. I was a member for like a year, and then I was like, okay, like as a state land guy, this doesn't really apply to me type thing.
For my education, what did that membership look like? Was it a financial investment from you?
Yeah, I think it was like $35 or something. Nothing crazy.
So a $35 annual membership to the NDA. And this was approximately how long ago?
Man, probably almost 10 years ago, 7 years ago, something like that.
Somewhere between 5 and 10 years ago.
Yep.
Got you a bunch of emails in your inbox.
Correct.
Okay.
And then from there, I joined. I'm like, okay, well, MUCC's doing habitat improvements and work. I'm like, well, let me join MUCC. Same thing. Most I ever got out of MUCC was a survey about, do you support APRs in your state, or do you support $1 in your state? And then, of course, me at the time, click yes. Mm-hmm. I'm like, yeah, cool. We're talking about some change now. I click yes. That was it. Nothing ever happened. And I'm like, okay, how do I make it? And the MUCC one was more recent than the NDA. So I start paying attention, start doing things. And then the DMI thing comes up. I'm like, oh man, this is like what I'm looking for. How do I get on this DMI?
And this was about 3 years ago, right?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, I'm just pounding ground and doing my thing and hunting, because that's what this is all about. And I apply for that DMI, write this like 3-page essay, send it into the DNR, get that thank you, but we're not moving forward with your application.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, all right. So I start watching the DMI, start, saying some things to kind of support the DMI a little bit. Nothing crazy, just on my personal page, whatever. I'm following.
Because it wasn't that the DMI didn't go anywhere. It was that they didn't select you to be on the DMI.
Correct.
Did they select anybody that you knew firsthand?
That I knew firsthand, no.
Okay.
No. I do know them now.
Correct.
From what I'm doing. But yeah.
So these weren't mythical people. Like they really selected people.
Yeah, they're citizens.
So when I thought about that, I thought, man, I don't know anybody that got selected. I wonder if these were people who were sort of pre-selected. But it turned out to be a legitimate thing, right?
Yeah, and there's some people that sit on there that are there's a lot of stakeholder organizations on there, like MUCC should have a seat at the table, NDA, Michigan Bow Hunters, all those standing organizations have a seat at that table. But then there's some independents on there as well.
That's Daryl. He lives here.
So the independents are on there, and I was hoping to get on as independent, but I didn't.
I gotcha.
So just supporting them and listening to them, and then if people remember that debacle, they came through with like 3 different proposals. I can't remember exactly what they were, but they were all good change for what would have made us a better whitetail state.
Mm-hmm.
And the NRC fumbled it. Voted down pretty much everything except for the youth season change, and that wasn't supposed to come forward by itself. There was a bunch of things there, and they just picked that out, and we're like, yeah, we're running with this.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. So you went over the course of the last 10 years, you went from not feeling represented to a DMI that you applied for specifically. Did you feel like that was you could see an evolution of representation as you got closer to the DMI? You were like, actually, this could theoretically be a good representation of me as a hunter today.
Correct.
Okay.
Because I feel like I represent quite a few people. Like I feel like the way that I hunt and how I'm ate up with this, I feel like that's the guy that doesn't have a seat at the table and we don't have representation.
Correct.
And I do think we're seeing it. Like you've been to the meetings. Nate Roosevelt and, some of these other guys, Justin Root, that are coming to the meetings. These guys are all guys that are just ate up with whitetail. We're pounding ground. We're putting miles on our boots. I consider we're real hunters. And the people that have been at the table for a long time are just kind of, not to take anything away from them, but a lot of them are like land management guys who own private property that don't do the same things we're doing. Don't really care about the public lands as much. And we've always been kind of viewed as the guys that go out and, brown, it's down. We're just shooting the first thing on public and that's just not the case. And I've said this time and time again, quality deer management is not exclusive to the guy that owns 600 acres of prime property.
Correct.
We can also play a part in that.
Right.
So Yeah, it's been kind of an evolution for a while. And then when they failed that DMI, like I was sitting in my truck and on the way home from work, I played that meeting because I didn't know what had happened. And I like played the meeting from MUCC was doing like streaming at the time of the meetings. So I played like fast forwarded everything to the vote. And I pulled up in front of my house and I remember just screaming in my truck like I was livid, you know.
Yeah.
Slammed the door, went in the house. Girl's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, they just failed everything. It's a mess. Then after that was when I was like, okay, I'm going to the meetings to represent myself. And I'm going to go see how this process works, get involved, and just show up and try to navigate my own way through this. And in that process, I've met some of those DMI members, which is now the DAT, Deer Advisory Team. Made some good friends there, have kind of helped me navigate everything a little bit. And we, as hunters in all this process, have kind of started showing up together, which I think is awesome to see and experience. If you've never been to a meeting, and I've heard you talk about it, it's different than what you think it's going to be.
Oh, yeah.
Just
substantially.
To see it for yourself and see like there's some disconnect there.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's better now for sure than it was like when me and you went to the meeting.
Yeah.
There's some different leadership in place there, and it's just much better. But it's interesting to see for yourself, and it's not what you'd expect.
Right.
So
the thing that, and I've heard people talk about this, it's difficult to take work off on a Thursday or a Wednesday now.
Yeah.
To attend to these meetings. And I realize that is a luxury that a lot of people do not have. And so I don't take that lightly. I can tell by kind of the recaps that you guys have been providing that the meetings are different today than they were the one that I went to last year. And that's excellent, because that was the biggest turnoff for me, was that there was a rift between the NRC and the DNR. Maybe it wasn't an outward rift, but it was they didn't seem to be working towards the same goal at that time, and or they just were not on the same page. I think they are today, based on what, or better today than it was back then.
I don't know that that's the case.
Interesting.
I think that there's still a major rift there.
Okay.
But the difference that's made there is, like, as you know, like Proposal G, right? The NRC has the sole authority over the taking game. So they have the final say. And those 7 commissioners that are sitting up there right now, I think, are much closer within their own group than they ever have been.
Oh.
So I think we're seeing strength behind the leadership of Becky, who was a previous DNR director, and she's now the chair of the NRC. Mm-hmm. That leadership of Becky coming in and pairing with John Walters and Peter Lee and Brandon Fewens and these guys who are all like, okay, like let's do something.
Yeah.
I think the leadership was a turning point there, because Walters has been trying to do something for a while, but didn't have the support with the rest of the commission. Mm-hmm. And now to have that support and a strong leader who knows how to navigate the department a little bit, I think has made the difference. I'm not saying that, I still think that there's a major disconnect there between the DNR and the NRC, which was probably shocking to people because they think, well, they're just the same. Mm-hmm. They are not the same. And I know that there's some struggles going on there now. But the difference being made is like, and I've said this, we have a once-in-a-generation commission right now who's willing to listen and willing to make change. That's the difference that's in that room right now. And that's, I don't want to discredit some of the people in the DNR, like Chad Stewart, great dude. Sarah Thompson, the wildlife chief, I think she's got a solid head on her shoulders. Brent, new deer biologist. I give him some time. I don't, know too much about him yet. Mm-hmm. He's still fairly new, but I don't want to discredit those people, but I think that there's still a disconnect with top brass in the department. And I'm not taking personal shots at him. Like, I've shaken the director's hand, Scott. I think he's a good guy on a personal level. but he's not a biologist. You know, he was placed in that position for a different reason, and good guy, nice guy. But I don't know that putting the deer first is his main priority.
So you have taken it upon yourself to create, for lack of a better term, a movement.
Attempting to, yeah.
Called the Michigan Whitetail Project.
Yep.
Do you refer to the movement that you're trying to do as the Michigan Whitetail Project?
Yeah.
Okay. So the Michigan Whitetail Project is your brand, so to speak, and you are the director of your brand, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that sounds. Yeah.
And so you have almost removed your personal presence online, whereas you used to post as the non-typical.
Yep.
And you have really kind of shifted to focus on the Michigan Whitetail Project. What is the ultimate goal of the Michigan Whitetail Project?
So it's funny that you mentioned that, because like I opened up the non-typical last night.
So did I.
And I was like, man, I haven't posted on here in forever. I had like 4 messages.
I was trying to grab some pictures of you on there before you came over today, and I was like, this is really old.
Yeah. Like I do think I posted like the deer I shot last year on there, but it's been a while. Yeah, I've shifted all my energy and attention into the Whitetail Project right now. And you know, it started out as the goal being outreach, to just outreach to get people to understand what's going on and how they can get involved. And that's still, I would say, is the main goal, is getting these next generation of hunters involved and getting them in that room. Because like you said, it's tough to get in that room, and you know, it's a luxury to take a Wednesday off, but we're not saying you got to be there every meeting.
I've only been to one.
Right. And you've been...
I'm not happy about it, but I've only been to one.
But you've done more than 99% of the people
Which
in the
is
state.
mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and, you know, that's what I started that was like me going to that meeting and looking around and being like, I'm the youngest guy in here at 35 years old. That's not okay. Right. Where's our representation? Where's the run and gun guys? Where's the mobile hunters? Where's the public land guys? Where are they? Because these are all organizations that are in here.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that's still the focus, is getting people involved. And then, you know, kind of showing people how you can be involved if you can't get a Wednesday off. But I think everybody is capable of taking one day off per year. Like one day.
I would say so.
Correct. I think...
Without being reprimanded, I believe you can.
Correct. Yes. We got guys that take 2 weeks off for the rut, and you're saying you can't... Well, I can't get a day off a Wednesday, you know. No, it's not that you can't, it's that you're choosing not to.
Choosing not to.
And, you know, that might be, I guess, guys are going to get upset about that, but that's the facts. That's the truth. And I think we have a duty to be in that room, or we shut our mouth and don't start running our Twitter fingers on Facebook.
I would like to clarify. I think I quoted your Instagram handle incorrectly. I kept calling it the Michigan Whitetail Project.
That's it.
It is.
Yeah.
It's not just the Whitetail Project.
No.
It's the Michigan Whitetail Project.
So I've been corrected on that as well, because I think somebody has a Whitetail Project page. So, yeah.
Okay. Good. So I highly encourage people to go there. So my wife and I had a great conversation last night. Once the kids went to bed, I could have a conversation with my wife last night. And she's like, so who's this guy that's coming over? And then when I reminded her who you were and how I met you and what you're working on, she's like, oh, we've talked about that before. Because she knows that I don't love what I do for a living. And so...
Neither do I.
I know. But what I do for a living affords me tremendous opportunity. Like podcasting on a Tuesday at 10 a.m. I don't take that lightly. But community engagement is a common theme that my wife and I talk about a lot in her profession and in my passion, which my passion is the outdoors and deer hunting. And how do I invest more of me in what I love to do? And community outreach is a common theme due to my love of this particular medium. An audio medium is a great way for people to consume content sort of mindlessly, but yet still absorb information. So this can be on while you're welding or while you're mowing the grass, and you can listen to somebody, and you you may or may not hear something that resonates with you, as well as video content. I need to step my game up. So I love that your focus is community engagement, because I don't think you're so fucking staunchly $1 that you're like, the only way you can belong to this group is you have to be $1. I just want you to fucking care.
Yeah.
You just want people to care enough to get involved.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to put words into your mouth. Like, I know what your stance is.
Yeah.
But if someone follows along because they just care now, that's huge. That's a win for you.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I've had some great conversation with people that strongly oppose $1.
100%. They're out there.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
And we've had like some back and forth. You know, I'm thinking of one guy in particular where we've had some back and forth, and he recognizes the need for change, but he doesn't want to lose his second buck tag. He doesn't want to take that drastic of a step.
Sure.
Which, to 93% of hunters, it's not that drastic of a step, you know, to lose that second buck tag. And if we're going to say it is, then we're proving the point of the psychological aspect of having that second tag in your pocket.
Mm-hmm.
However, you know, I've had some great conversation with guys, and we agree on 90% of everything we talk about, maybe more, maybe 95, 99% of everything we talk about. It's just that one thing that's my personal thing. And my answers to these people is, well, why aren't you in the room? Because you can't come to me and say, well, you shouldn't be saying that, because that's what I believe. Mm-hmm. Now, I started the project because I wanted to get people involved, but that doesn't strip me of my own beliefs and how we move this state forward.
Absolutely.
And I post about $1 and, you know, quite a bit, but I don't call anybody stupid. I don't call anybody ignorant. I'm not going to argue with anybody on Facebook. And even the Facebook group, like, if you don't believe in change, I don't allow people into that group. And there's like, I don't know, 200-300 people sitting in the waiting to be accepted, and they haven't answered those questions because I don't want it to turn into an arguing space. Sure. Like a lot of these other forums have. And the Facebook group isn't my main concern. Like, the Instagram is my baby of outreach. But I just see so much guys going back and forth. Well, APRs, well, $1. Well, you $1 guys are stupid, and you APR guys don't understand. Like, there's so much back and forth, and it's all ignorance. There's most of the time you call somebody stupid, you don't have a leg to stand on. Like, there's no, you're already taking an ignorant approach to just having a discussion with somebody. There's nothing there more to be said. And the minute somebody calls me stupid, like, I just tune out.
You tune out.
I could care less. Your opinion is non-void. You don't want to have a conversation. But yeah, I don't ridicule anybody for their own beliefs. I think everybody should be in that room, and everybody should be sending their emails and making their phone calls. But I will say, like, right now, talked to one of the commissioners recently. He said they've got over 1,000 emails in the past week, and they've never seen this before. They've never seen this much outreach before. And he said only 1% of them are negative. And I said, so what's that 1% look like? And he said, it's funny because everybody who's in favor of change is pretty much in support of $1. Like that, because that's where the momentum is.
100%.
You know, that's where the momentum is right now. And if we start throwing in other things, it's going to derail the $1, right? So everybody's kind of jumping on that $1 train. This is our chance to get change. He said everybody who's supporting $1 is coming from it with data and standpoints pointing to herd health as a whole. Nobody's talking about antlers. Everybody's talking buck to doe ratio. Everybody's talking balanced age class, like factors of a healthy herd. And he said everybody, that 1% who opposes, is just using the term trophy hunters. And that's it. And I said, well, how's that going? And he said, well, the guy left his phone number and I called him. And the guy answered the phone and said, so what are you calling me for? And he said, that's it. You know, that's the whole, that's the whole thing. Well, what do you want to know from me? You know, those guys just want antlers. He said, nobody's talking about antlers. Everybody's just talking about getting control back of our herd. So, you know, it's it's funny how the mentality of the hunter in Michigan has shifted to a management mindset. And I think that that's a generational change.
I agree.
I think we have all this information at our fingertips now, whether or not you choose to use it. Like all these data and facts from other states, like it's all there. And cultural from Michigan too. Like it shows on paper. Our culture shows in data and statistics. You can't argue it. There's no argument against it. All you ever hear is, well, they just are trophy hunters. And it's like, again, we're taking a standpoint of trying to put somebody down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not engaging that.
Right. When you started doing, if you can think back, Young Josh, which is not your rap name.
No.
But it could be.
It wasn't. Name. It could, yeah.
Could. Wait, wasn't?
No, it was not. No, I had a different rap name.
Well, I didn't know this was going to go this direction.
I'm just kidding. I did not.
What was your rap name?
I'm just kidding. There was no rap career coming from my past.
Now I don't know if I believe you.
Believe it. Trust me.
Damn it. I thought I uncovered something remarkable there, and I was so excited to go down that rabbit hole. Shit.
No.
Anyway.
Real quick, it's funny. So there's a guy in the UP that like fiercely opposes everything that I say, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's another one that's just ignorant comments all the time. And he sent a comment one time on something that I said, and he goes, "You don't know anything about the whitetail herd. You're from 8 Mile." And I've lived with that one for a while now because, awesome. I live just outside the city and, I'm about 1.5 miles off of 8 Mile. And I'm like, oh, here comes this, I'm never going to get over that one.
God. That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. So this is where I was going with that. Young Josh, elementary school age Josh, middle school age Josh, high school Josh. Were you an overachiever? Were you like outwardly outspoken about things that were important to you, or were you shy, or like, where does this desire to be a leader come from? This is not a simple thing that you've taken on.
So I'll start by saying I never thought that it would grow to be this big.
Yeah.
Like I never really thought that this would make the impact that it has, because
Mm-hmm.
I do. I think that this has like taken on a pretty big task, right? And
yes.
I think it's being very successful. We got a lot of support. But I mean, an overachiever, I don't think I ever really, I don't want to call myself an overachiever. I am a bit of a perfectionist on certain things, the way I do things. Like I try to do things right when I do them. The example will be that booth last weekend. Like I'm sitting at home and I'm thinking like, all right, I got like a standee, I got brochures made, and I'm like, no, I got to put my best foot forward. And like went online and made a design for a backdrop and like overnight shipped it for the next day. Cause I was like, I'm not putting my best foot forward, So like, I do have that kind of personality trait there, and everything I've ever done, I've tried to do well and be successful at it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't bowl cause I suck at bowling and it bothers me. Things like that, like do play a role in my personality, but I've
bowling.
Yeah.
Do you think it's the way that your body has to move when you bowl is a little gay?
Maybe, yeah. That
like
whole
you
like
kick one leg out and you're like twisting your arm.
Throw a curve in it.
What the fuck is this?
Yeah, it could be it. No, just something about throwing balls down an alley just never really been my. Never really been my forte. But
you gotta write that one down.
Yeah, so I've tried to do things well throughout my life, but my dad sent me a text recently, and he said, and I've done a lot of different things in my life. Like I was 17 and walked back into a boxing gym one day and was like on 8 Mile for those who are concerned with that stat, and was like, I want to fight, and and I did it well, and I put my best into it and did everything I could. I tried to be a good wrestler. I was not a good wrestler, and I don't know, man. I got that trait, but I wouldn't call myself an overachiever.
But were you a leader? Were you always a leader?
Yeah, I'd consider myself a leader.
Okay. Is that like your dad, like instilled in you from your father or your mother or whomever?
I think so, and that's what I was gonna say. Like my dad sent me a text. I guess I forgot my train of thought there. He sent me a text recently and said like all these things I've tried to do in my life. He sent me a text and he said, I think you found your lane. Like you found something
that's cool,
that
man.
You actually really, really are into.
Yeah.
And you know, I think so too. Like,
yeah,
there's nothing I've ever done in my life, and this is going to sound funny. There's no place I'd rather be than sitting at a commission meeting and trying to make a difference. And that sounds funny because a lot of people are like, that's 9 hours of boring bullshit. But I love being there. You know, I love shaking hands and talking to, you know, different guys from different groups and trying to figure out what's going on where, putting the pieces together on what's going on in the commission's minds as people are talking, you know, trying to navigate my way through that process has really, really changed my life, man.
Yeah. That's incredible. So, people live an entire life and never find that.
Yeah, probably. And I've
willing to bet most.
And I've been looking probably for it for my whole life, you know. And I've told my story like whitetail has consumed my life, right? Hunting is my love. That's what I love to do, is pound in public with a stand on my back. No place I'd rather be. Camping in parking lots, like sleeping in my truck, like that's all part of it to me. I'm ate up by it. But there were things before that in that process to get me there.
Sure.
Whether it was the sports, you know, I wrestled, I played football, I boxed, I went fishing, and then fishing wasn't getting it for me. So I started fly fishing as a release from boxing, you know, as like a stress reliever. And then from fishing, I went into whitetail, and it was the private land deal. And then I didn't have enough place to stretch my legs. So then I went to public, and dude, it's just been like this swirl that's brought me to this point of like, I guess, advocacy for the herd and how we can, and they're connected because I appreciate hunting so much. Like it's done so much for my life and my mental that I want to see it better. And that's why, I guess, what probably brings me in a full circle and why I care about it so much. It's done so much for me that I want to give back to it. Yeah. If that makes sense.
It is. And I think there's a huge chunk of people, a generation of people that have never allowed it to let them feel that way. For whatever reason. Culture, the culture that they were brought up in, their limited exposure to it. There is a ton of hunters in probably the United States, not just Michigan, but in the United States, that never have had the luxury of letting hunting make them feel that way. And that is, it's so valuable. It changed my life when things were difficult. And I would go so far as to say it changed my brother's life when things were difficult. And so that is a beautiful thing to find that.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, you know, so like me, working Monday through Friday, right? Some weeks. Work Monday through Friday. I show up at work on Friday with my trailer hooked up to my truck, knowing that Monday through Friday is non-existent when I pull out of work on Friday. And I'm headed to the whitetail woods, and I got a release for 2 days to reset myself. And that's the place that I reset myself. That's where it all goes away. Yeah. The minute I step foot out of my truck and I'm pounding and I'm going for it, nothing else matters. So if it has that big of an impact on people and on myself, like, then we need to make sure we need to cement this thing and make sure that it not only is it there for future generations, but that it's better for the future generations than it was left for us. Because I do think that you're right. that connection there's a gap in time there where it was missed. And I'm not saying everybody, but I think there's a gap in time there where it went from hunting being subsistence to hunting being just killing. Like, we don't need the meat anymore, but we're still going because we can have a couple beers and hang out in the whitetail woods.
Get away from our old ladies.
Correct. And that gap, I think, ruined a lot. And that's why we're there today. Whereas now we realize that we're not there for subsistence, but we're going back to the point where, like, this has made a difference in our life. We have all this information out here on how we can make it better, and we just need to utilize it. And these younger guys are, like, all about quality deer. You know, the guys younger than us. And I've said it a lot, but what you're seeing on social media and YouTube and, like, you know, all these different channels that have come up over the past couple of years, you see the possibilities. Those guys are seeing the possibilities. So they have a different want for the whitetail herd. You can say it's good. You can say it's bad. You can say it's hurt everything. It doesn't matter. That's what's happening. We need to leave it for them to what they want it.
Yes.
And that's where I think we come into play as the, I guess, 45 and under crowd for the guys that can't be in those meetings yet. Maybe they're in school or whatever. You know, there's some kid in school right now that's going to be like a public land grinder in a couple years, dude.
He doesn't even know it.
Doesn't even know it. He's going out on his family farm right now. Well, one day he's going to get tired of that, and he's going to jump ship and throw a stand on his back. And that's the guy that we need to be thinking about right now.
One day, that family member is going to lease that land to a solar farm.
Yeah.
And that beautiful fucking ag land that he grew up hunting so perfectly is going to be covered, every square inch of it, in stupid fucking solar panels or a fucking data center.
Yeah. Wind turbine, something.
Wind goddamn turbine. You know, you made a comment earlier, and I'm going to kind of bring this back to it. Because I can see this, believe me, I can see this argument. Because I am not a government guy. I don't like the government up in my shit. I don't like paying taxes. I don't like people telling me what to do. I don't like my boss telling me what to do. I don't like the government telling me what to do. I don't like more rules. I don't like oversight. I don't like overreach. I can't fucking stand it. And a lot of people would hear that and go, well, then why do you want the NRC or the DNR to tell you what you can or cannot do? Because I can also disconnect what my preconceived notions are for what's better for the herd. Okay, I can understand. I can look at data and say that our sex ratio is super fucking far off down here in southern Michigan. I also know that it's not other places. Okay, I understand that. I also know that once you give something up, it's super hard, if not impossible, to ever get it back again. So again, someone might say to you, well, then why are you willing to give this up? Because the argument has been made, well, we can revisit this in 3 years. Okay, we can. But again, once you relinquish something, what are the odds you'll ever get a second buck tag back again? And my response is, again, I don't need a second buck tag. I see that argument. I hear it. I feel it. Believe me, I feel it. I don't want government in my shit. What do you say to that?
So, I'm with you. I'm not a government man.
I know.
Okay. All right. And I've heard this come at me. This same question has been flying at me for the past couple months. But we're in a place in time where the average hunter wants 1.4 deer. And you have 2 buck tags in your pocket. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. There's absolutely zero reason why, if you're hunting, that you need 2 buck tags. There's no biological reason in our current climate and system that you need 2 buck tags. And if we were responsible enough to manage and regulate this thing by ourselves as hunters, I wouldn't be pushing for this. But we have proved time and time again that we cannot self-regulate. There are speed limit signs for a reason on the roads, because we cannot self-regulate without a little bit of direction. And my point being, with this whole outreach thing that I'm trying to do, This has been a hunter-led initiative. This whole thing. This didn't start by one day coming and going to a meeting and seeing the NRC saying, we're taking this from you. That didn't happen. This started by the Citizens Deer Advisory Team and hunters showing up to meetings and saying, we need to do something. We, us, hunters, need your support from the NRC and the department to do something. This is a hunter-led initiative. This isn't big government coming in and taking anything away from you. Yes, we're trying to utilize, but as we're trying to utilize, it's important to recognize, too, that this comes from our voices. And, you know, we hear, like, legislation and, like, the baiting coming from legislation and everything like that. I fiercely oppose that because we don't have a voice in that room. Mm-hmm. But with the commission and the levers that we're trying to get pulled, we have a voice.
I gotcha.
So it's important everything goes through the commission because then the hunters can have input. Mm-hmm. We can speak our piece on it and, you know, show up and I guess have a little bit of influence in that room. So that the whole government trying to take something from you and show me how you've I'm going to derail and sound like not such a good guy. Okay. You know, some of these guys, show me how you've self-regulated so well over the past couple years that you're excluded from that argument. Mm-hmm. Show me how. And most of them can't.
Right.
Most of them are just perpetuating the cycle of everything and the problems that we're having. Mm-hmm. Well, how many does did you shoot last year? Oh, well, you know, I was going to go back out late season and I never made it because, you know, it got cold and I had a wedding to go to. Or okay, so if we can't do it, then we're going to need some support from the commission to make you do it.
That right there. I am not perfect. In fact, since I moved back to Michigan, I have shot 2 bucks every year, more often than not, because I could. Mm-hmm. I have a great piece of property. That luxury is not lost on me. I didn't need to. I also shoot does. But the fact that that person or that argument was, I was going to, but I didn't, because they didn't need to. I needed to. And I really enjoyed trying to shoot a doe last year.
Yeah.
I worked way harder to try to shoot a doe at the end of the season than I worked all season on a buck. And I loved it because I loved the hunt. And I'm not bragging. I'm not saying that I'm special. I'm just saying I love to go out and hunt.
So you didn't stop hunting because you filled your buck tag already?
All the way to the end of the year because I wanted to shoot a doe and I couldn't fucking shoot a doe. I could not get on a doe and I worked so fucking hard and I racked my brain. They kept changing. I loved it. I hunted all the way to the end just to shoot a doe and wasn't successful. But I continued to hunt because I love it.
Yep.
Not because I wanted antlers, because I wanted to shoot another deer for my family to put in the freezer. Mm-hmm. People don't love hunting enough. Hunting, being in the woods, seeing a fox, seeing a coyote, watching the groundhogs, the raccoons, whatever you see, the bald eagle, the hawks, the birds, like love all of it.
Yep.
Whether you shoot a deer or not, you've got to just love all of it. And for years, for a generation, several 10-year chunks, several decades, people were just like, I need to shoot antlers, and that's it.
Yeah. And that's spilling over.
That's our problem.
Correct. And that has spilled over until today. And I will tell you, so last year in December, my friend now, we were just like social media, acquaintances at the time. He said, hey, I'm doing this doe rally down here in Lenawee County, and I could use some help. I said, well, what do you need? He said, well, I don't like public speaking, so I just need somebody to talk on the microphone. I'm like, all right. So left work, went down there. He's like, you can crash at my house. Like, you're an hour and a half from home. I was like, okay. I pulled my trailer, crashed in this dude's driveway, had the heater running, whatever. We went out. He was like, you can hunt my leases too. okay, we're all right.
Nice.
So we go out for this doe rally and try to take some does down. We didn't get one. All right, I'll just start there. We didn't shoot anything, but it was the most fun that I had all season long. And the same thing you did I went through my whole season last year like I was going to take one buck.
Mm-hmm.
That last, from December, I think I shot a buck on November 18th. From that point on, I hunted until the very last weekend, hunting does. And I had the same experience you had. I'd get a doe at like 50 yards, and then I had one at like 10 yards, and I was trying to like fumble with my stuff, and I got busted, and I'm like, damn, like I just can't shoot a doe this year,
It's remarkable.
Yeah, when you're looking for them,
Yes.
you can't. But to your point, I was still hunting because I love hunting. I'm ate up with hunting. I'm hunting for the right reasons. And I hunt for subsistence.
Mm-hmm. Same.
I hunt because my freezer needs 5 to 6 deer to feed my family throughout
Same.
the whole year. Not because I want one that I'm going to go turn into sausage and hand it out at work. To me, and this is like a wild thought, to me, my deer meat is too valuable to give away. Hey, if you'll give me some summer sausage, I'll gladly take it. But my freezer and the meat that's in my freezer is too valuable to my family
100%.
to just hand out and give away. And if people do that, that's great. And I think that that's a great part of our like hunting culture. Like it's cool. Guys take them to work and pass them out. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But I don't personally do that. And I try to help out a lot of farmers in the summer, and I'm fortunate to do that. But anybody can do that.
Right.
Like if you're hunting for subsistence, there's so many farmers that need help with crop damage. Go do it. They don't want to do it because I'm here to tell you it's a pain in the ass when you shoot a deer and it's 90 degrees outside.
Oh my God, yes.
Let alone shoot 2 or 3,
Yeah.
because you're working on those deer immediately. You don't have the luxury of taking it home and hanging it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pain, and that's why farmers aren't doing it. They're farming. They can't afford to just go out there, shoot deer, and not waste them.
Mm-hmm.
So
do you think that option is a well-known option to most people?
I don't think anybody cares enough to do it.
Really?
Yeah, I think, and one person in particular was so mad at me for doing it. And somebody that you're probably referencing in some of the things you're saying said to me, well, you're not the average person. Maybe you should quit hunting deer in the summertime. I'm not hunting them. I'm shooting them. And I'm just being honest because that guy needs help.
Yeah.
My hunting experiences are completely different. I'm managing at that point.
Right.
That is a management tool because we have issues.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not special in that regard where I can just, have this access. This guy needed help and I'm helping him. He's losing thousands of dollars because the hunters, the managers, the management tool, which is what we are at the end of the day, are not doing their job. And I don't think as many people know about it as they probably should. But it's not hard. Right. You just talk to a farmer. Everybody, I'm not going to say everybody knows a farmer, but there's even a program that, it's funny, the guy's name is Brian Farmer, I believe, started up in, I forget what county it is, just outside Oakland. But either way, he started a program to connect new hunters to farmers that need help.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And, oh, geez, I forget the name of it. It's like Hunters Helping. I can't remember the name of it, but he started this program to connect new hunters to farmers that are struggling, and they can go out and they can put some meat in their freezer. And, Pennsylvania has a similar program that's very successful. And in Pennsylvania, you have to take a test to be, I guess they probably check your marksmanship and things like that, but it's very successful. Anybody can fill a crop damage tag, and they have tried to make it simpler by not putting your name on it. Before there was a shooter's list. Well, they've removed the shooter's list, and anybody can be the shooter now. So, you can go out and fill your freezer in the summertime. If you want to spend your whole season chasing $1, but you need 5 deer, you can go out and fill your doe tags in the summer. Now, like I said, I love to hunt so much, I'm going to be in the stand regardless. But if you need meat, that's a great opportunity because we do have too many deer in Zone 3.
Right.
Farmers are hurting. And there's parts of Zone 2, too. There's some crop damage that I do in Zone 2.
Again, that's something that I don't think a lot of people realize they can do. It's something I've never taken advantage of it. And then I have seasons where I shoot a doe on an opening night, and I shoot a buck in December, and I can't get on another doe for the rest of the season. And I'm like, you idiot. Why don't you could just go down to the same property and shoot does in the summertime. What the fuck's wrong with you? I need to. Well, the moment I do that, I'll be swarmed by does come fall.
Yeah.
Who knows? But whatever. I did not shoot enough deer this year. We had to buy a quarter cow.
Yeah.
There was not enough meat in that freezer, and that's my fault. I look back and I go, I spent X amount of dollars on tags and trips and gas and lodging, and I didn't do my part for the family, and that bums me out. And so I look at hunting like I love to hunt, but I am also hunting for sustenance. It is our primary source of red meat. And when I don't do it, it comes out of my bank account that I got to now buy a cow to supplement for the rest till fall anyway.
Which isn't cheap.
No, it's
$20 is much cheaper.
Yes. So I don't know. I try to talk to that. Well, again, my wife and I were talking about this last night. It's education. How do you educate people? How do you encourage them to learn to love the process, the hunt? How do you do it? And it's video shorts, it's reels. Well, how do you pay for that? With money. Where do you get the money? Do you raise tag prices? Well, we're already losing hunters. I know you've heard all these arguments.
Yeah.
We have one of the cheapest tags in the country.
We do.
We could pay more.
We could definitely pay more. And again, bringing it back, if people would sit in that room or care enough to pay attention, then they would know that their arguments about, well, they don't need more money, they got so much money, blah, 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 blah. Sit in the room and look at the equipment they're using. It's almost sad to sit in there and watch that finance committee go over how much they're hurting, because people want to point to, well, the director makes X amount of money. It's not the director. It's the guy like you and me who's a normal Joe going to work and has to use a drill from 1984 because they can't afford to buy new ones, or use farming equipment from the 50s. Those are the guys, or before he starts his day, he has to run down to Chet's Renall and get a chainsaw because they don't have an extra one.
Right.
It's that guy that's being impacted. Mm-hmm. And if people would just pay a little bit more attention, then they would realize, yeah, I can fork out an extra $10.
Right.
You're paying, and it's the substance argument right there that we can come back to as well, because raising that tag price, call it $10. I don't know what they're proposing at this point. Yeah. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Say you raised it $20. I'm still
doing it.
Me too.
Yeah.
Because what's a pound of beef right now?
Too much.
Correct. So there you go. $20 is a small drop in the bucket right there when you can shoot a deer with it.
Dude, it's a pack of smokes and a white monster. Dude. Just skip your pack of smokes and a white monster one time this week, and you've paid for your increase in tags.
Yes. And it's the same guy that'll show up with 4 cases of Bush Light to deer camp and complain about raising his tag cost $10, $20. Yeah. Come on. That is an irrelevant argument.
Yeah. It is not, what is needed is not so great that it would be putting you in the poorhouse.
Correct. What's funny about it is it's the same guy that's saying, well, and I've said this argument, so I don't want to exclude myself. I've always said, give us a better product and we'll pay more for it. And I've said that even at the meetings. Increase the value of the product and you can raise the price, right? Mm-hmm. But there is a guy that will say, well, our deer herd sucks, so I'm not paying more for it. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, let's change these 4 things. well, I don't want to change. We shouldn't have to change anything. I shouldn't have to give up my buck tag. How's it going to get better?
Mm-hmm.
So if you want better,
it's a loop.
It's a loop.
It is a loop. And I think someone has to stick a stick in the front tire of the wheel that's moving to flip us over the handlebars to get us out of this mess. And that's why I said I am okay if we only have a single buck. I'm okay if we do a lot of changes, because I didn't grow up in a deer hunting, a deer camp culture. I didn't do it.
Me either.
When I first started hunting at 20 or 21 years old, must have been 21 because we could drink. At 21, we would go up to Grayling. My buddy's dad owned a lodge, and he was remodeling it. And we could stay at the lodge as long as we helped remodel the lodge a little bit, and we would hunt state land. I never saw a deer one time. That was my hunt camp. It was me going to Mod Eaters in Luzerne, Michigan, getting hammered on Jack and Cokes and trying to hit a deer with my truck on the way home. That was my deer camp. Okay. It's not the same deer camp that guys had where they had a log cabin somewhere and the family would go there. And it's this romantic memory to these men. Okay. I didn't have that. And so I don't want to say that my argument is the same as yours, but it is, because I still live here. I pay taxes. I hunt in Michigan. I have a stake in this as well. Yep. You do too. But we can't hang our hat on emotion.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot say my feelings will be hurt. And I know that minimizes their argument, but we cannot say my feelings will be hurt if we lose this. And so I don't want to do it, because it's all this what if. What if I don't get to go to deer camp? Yeah. What if it feels different? We can't do it that way.
They're man tantrums.
Man tantrums.
That's what's going on.
That down too.
There is man tantrums taking place in this state amongst guys that just don't want to lose their second buck tag.
And again, I don't want to minimize their argument, because everybody has a feeling about something, but we cannot make decisions based on feelings.
Correct.
It has to be data driven.
But I've heard everything from, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to shut this down. I'm going to derail this single-handedly.
I've also heard that.
I'm going to file suit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I've heard that.
Yeah. Come on. This is for the greater good, for one,
mm-hmm.
and for two, for the deer camp argument. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna throw that stick in the front tire right now. Okay.
That's the stick. That's the log that's going in the front spoke.
Yeah, it's going in. So from the previous data that has been presented, I think from the February commission meeting, we are to the point where 85% of second buck tags are filled within the same county.
Mm-hmm.
85%.
That's me.
Yeah.
I have shot when I shoot 2 bucks, which I said already has been almost every year since 2017. They've all been from the same property.
Well, there you go.
I am that guy. I'm part of the statistic.
Well, you keep hearing people say, well, if I shoot my buck at home, then I can't go up to deer camp and hunt. Well, number one, nobody's stopping you from hunting.
Correct.
Okay, let's start there. You can still go to deer camp.
Yep.
You just can't shoot
I would
a buck
encourage
there.
you to.
Yeah, well, 1,000%.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things you can do. You can go cook, hang out, take your kid out, get him into it, whatever. There's a ton of options there. But nobody's stopping you from going to deer camp. But the flip side of that is looking at this and the cultural shift of what I just said. 85% of deer on that second tag are now taken in the same county.
Mm-hmm.
Deer camp is dying. That tradition is ending. The next generation coming in has not continued that. Camps are going up for sale.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate that, because I do think that tradition was awesome for a lot of those guys. That was their whole family. There's generations
mm-hmm.
of pictures up there, and these cabins that are just going up for sale, like in the UP and northern Michigan, and mom and pop stores that relied on that traffic, they're closing.
Mm-hmm.
That sucks, and I hate that point. But not only is it happening, but it's already happened.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to let go of it and move forward. And how do we make it better for what's our current situation is. We can't keep holding on to the past on, these guys that say, well, then I can't go up to deer camp. Well, you've become the super minority now. The super minority. You're not even half anymore. Like, guys aren't going to deer camp anymore. And there's going to be somebody who listens to this and say, well, I do. Proving my point with the whole I, we, me. It's not about you. It's not about the two guys sitting in this room behind a microphone. It's not about us.
Not at all.
It's about the deer herd. And what do we do for the deer herd?
Mm-hmm.
And all of those factors just point to where we are right now and the changes that need to be made to move forward. It's not about me. It's about the deer. How do we get it to move forward?
Right. And that's hard for people to accept.
Yeah.
And what would you tell that person? What would you tell the person that isn't ready to accept that deer camp is dying, that alcohol consumption amongst young people is at an all-time low? Because that is what I just said we did. We would go and literally drink Jack and Coke until the bar closed and then drive home.
Is that a real stat? Alcohol consumption
amongst young people is at an all-time low.
Oh, that's a good 100%. Thing. Okay.
So people are not smoking and drinking the way that they used to.
Okay.
And so when you think about deer camp, it is beer, and grilling, and then hunting. And if people are not desiring that, I want to go get hammered at camp, what do you tell the person that? How do you get that through to those people? How do you win this argument?
I don't think.
And maybe it's not winning an argument. Maybe that's the wrong way to look at it.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get through to a lot of them. I really don't. I think it's like beating a dead horse. I don't think you're going to get through to them. I think it's going to take a few years for people to adjust to it, because change is going to happen. It's coming. Yes. It's going to happen. We're at that point. We're ready for it. For the majority of people are ready for it, and they're pushing for it. So you're not going to get it through to them. It's just going to take some time for them to adjust. And then they're going to realize it's not so bad. The government didn't kick your door down and physically take anything from you. You're going to realize that this isn't some God-given right at this point. Nobody's stealing your liberty, right? And that's like that thought. Like, well, the government, you just said, my liberty. No, nobody's taking that from you.
And listen, I would be so bold to say, if the government's overreach ever became so overbearing, just go shoot whatever deer you want anyway. If you are being choked out to the point where your family cannot eat, go kill an animal and learn how to process it yourself, and don't check it in. And don't die because the government said you can't shoot a deer. That's you. That's a you problem if you're willing to go so far. Like, I'd be willing to say that.
And to your point, I don't think we're anywhere near that situation.
We will never get there.
We are not choked out to that point. We're not living in the frontier. If we were, yeah.
Yes.
There's parts of the state where the government is choking out their hunting rights. Michigan is not one of them. But what Michigan people fail to realize, and like I'm taking a shot at, our community here, not every state has this camp culture. Like, you go out of state, you don't see this camp culture. That is a Michigan thing.
There's a handful of states.
Yeah.
Maybe
sure.
Not even a handful.
But
an injured handful.
It's rare that the tradition is in other places. And look what it's done to us. Look at all the other states around us in the Midwest. Michigan has some of the best habitat in the Midwest. Look what it's done to our deer herd with our culture. So I think people are just starting to step back and take a look at that and realize we're not that far removed from doing better. It's just about encouraging each other to do a little bit better than we did yesterday.
Right.
So
it's interesting. It's very interesting. I think we are, I agree with you. I do believe we are on the verge of change. I believe that we are on the verge of seeing man tantrums at an all-time high.
Me too.
I believe that within 365 days post man tantrum high, we will start to see some people will be probably very quiet. Because I think that you're going to realize things are not going to change that dramatically. It will just look crazy on paper to them. I don't think they're going to see a dramatic change in their experience. As a whole, do you feel like things are pretty... Like, when you go hunting in Michigan, do you feel like things are pretty good as far as your ability to hunt deer?
Yes.
We just need to do better managing our herd.
We need to do better managing. Yeah, I think so. From a whole standpoint, and that just stems from my experience of being in the woods, because I like to be in the woods.
Right.
Now, if I'm looking at it from a perspective of the buck to doe ratio, or, you know, when you start considering it from that, which I think a lot of people don't do, they're just looking at their experience. And that's how I just answered that question. Mm-hmm. But if we're looking at it from the factors of how healthy is our deer herd, we're struggling. Mm-hmm. That point, if I'm looking at it like that, we're struggling. But if you're asking me, do I enjoy my time and experience in the woods? Yeah, for sure. Now, if I go to another state, insert Indiana, Illinois, I enjoy that experience more because the experience is an explosion of deer behavior. And that makes things so much better and so much more fun. And deer are grunting and chasing and, you know, doing all these deer things that we don't get to experience here in a lot of parts of the state. Mm-hmm. And those are the things that we're trying to fix. That experience should be better for the hunter. But again, at the end of the day, the deer should come before the hunter. And when we put the deer before the hunter, the satisfaction of the hunter will increase.
That right there. That's where I was hoping you were going with that.
Yeah.
Is the argument of we are losing hunters rapidly.
Yep.
The satisfaction of the experience goes up. The hunter recruitment will follow.
Correct. And our satisfaction numbers in this state, I don't think there's any metric that the DNR measures them on that goes above 50%.
Right.
Which is horrible.
Horrible.
And the number one failing metric is antler size.
Correct.
It's at like 30%. How are people looking at those metrics? Well, let's start and say they're not, because they're not looking for this information. But they're filling out these papers and saying, well, no, I'm not happy with the antler size. But then on the flip side, they're saying, well, you're just a trophy hunter and you don't understand, you know, heritage and culture. Mm-hmm. You're the ones that are filling out the survey. I didn't get a survey last year.
I don't get them. My kid gets them.
Okay. Yeah. I think I've got like one in my lifetime. But they're not targeting people that are looking for antlers. They're targeting whoever, you know. It's a random draw. And if that's sitting at 30%, it's probably a fairly decent representation of how most people feel. Mm-hmm. But you're going to sit there and say, I'm not happy with the experience I had, but I don't want anything to change.
Right.
Doesn't make sense.
That is an insane thing to say.
Well, that's the definition of insanity. Yeah.
That is exactly what you are saying when you do those two things in a 1 year period. You fill out an unhappy survey and then say, but I don't want to change anything. That is fucking insane.
Yeah, it's a wild thought.
And it all goes back to education. In my opinion, everything we are saying ultimately lands on education and then is coupled with your group, the Michigan Whitetail Project, and engaging the resident hunter and getting them engaged and getting them excited about the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, I think education is a giant part of it in getting them to realize. It's hard to get somebody to realize something that they have never experienced. This has been this way for so long.
Oh, yeah.
And we've been on this like really slow downward slope, right? Mm-hmm. It's like this long hill that we've been rolling down. And it's went on for so long that nobody's had like an awakening moment. Mm-hmm. Like they haven't like had that, like to your reference, a stick thrown in their front tire to realize like, wow, there's no deer here, or there's no bucks here.
Yeah.
You know? So it's been gradual for so long, people are just used to it. But eventually, you got to rip the Band-Aid off, give the community something new to get used to. And like you said a minute ago, after a couple years, first year, yeah, man tantrums go to an all-time high. Second year, they go down a little bit. By the third year, when you start seeing change, and this has happened everywhere, nobody can debate this fact. This happened in the Northwest 13. It happened in Pennsylvania when they went to APRs and $1. Mm-hmm. All these different states that have implemented change, by year 3, people are starting to looking around and going, oh, wow, this is great.
Yeah.
And they have satisfaction rates of at least 70%. Mm-hmm. You know, if you look at other states and their satisfaction levels, they're through the roof. Ours are at 50%. So how do we not change things to make the product better?
You have to.
You have to.
You have to. Because that person that said no, they're not happy, is not going to do it.
Correct.
They're not going to, like you said, there's no self-regulation. Mm-hmm. Now, recently, you and I have shared an exchange. There's a lot of people on the counter side to this argument. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's emotional, and sometimes there's data that's presented about other states that shoot multiple bucks, and they on average are shooting 3.5. You know, their age structure of bucks harvested is higher, or their buck to doe ratio harvest report is better. I don't necessarily know that is always the best argument against changing to a $1 state.
No. Can I just input something
Please.
Real quick?
Yeah.
How often do you see me post about other states?
Never.
Exactly.
You only post about Michigan.
Correct.
Yes.
They don't matter.
Correct.
I'll
not
let
apples
you,
to apples.
Yeah, I'll let you keep rolling. But
that was it.
Yeah.
That was it.
So it doesn't matter to me.
Right.
You know, there's a few things that we can look at and say, well, this state is very similar to us, mm-hmm. and they implemented change and had a positive outcome. Mm-hmm. Insert Pennsylvania, mm-hmm. I think is the very best flip side to us. And you can use those points as a comparison, mm-hmm. but they're not Michigan.
Right.
I think very too often people pull data to post it, but don't interpret it. Mm-hmm. They just want to post it and say, well, look at this. Iowa, 40% of their harvest is yearling bucks. Who cares? If that's what their herd supports, doesn't matter.
Right.
Data is a funny thing because you can skew it to look however you want it to look. Mm-hmm. You can do that.
Sure.
And people all too often pull information from other states and the NDA and these organizations that take statistics and data mm-hmm. and post them up. And they're like, well, look, Alabama has 3 buck tags or whatever they have. Don't quote me.
Yeah. And
you're like, well, that's a southern state. It's totally different. Mm-hmm. Well, they're Oklahoma, you know, their harvest rate is all 3.5 and above. How does that reflect Michigan in any shape or form? Mm-hmm. It doesn't. So you can skew data to get it to look how you want it to, but you need to interpret it and figure out why. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to show, well, their average harvest is 3.5 years old. Okay, well, let's look at their buck to doe harvest. What does that look like? Mm-hmm. What does their total harvest numbers look like? How many deer are on the landscape? How much percentage of their state is actually timber? There's all these different factors that you can look at in data that you can pull out, but people don't want to do that. And the very closest thing that you can do, if you're gonna have to compare Michigan to somebody, it would probably be Pennsylvania.
Not Indiana?
So Indiana's a good one.
The only reason I say Indiana is because I know that there was a point in time where they were multiple bucks. Now they are $1. I know there was a change. I had somebody on recently that talked about Indiana changing. I know that Chad Stewart comes from Indiana.
Yeah.
That's the only reason
I
think of Indiana as having a mix, kind of like we do.
Yeah.
Not exactly the same, but having a mix.
So you can look at Indiana and say they were very successful by flipping to a $1 state. Mm-hmm. Their doe harvest and buck harvest their doe harvest increased, where people say, you know, this isn't going to influence, you can't make people shoot does.
Yeah.
I can't force you to do anything.
Right.
I'm telling you what the best thing to do is, you know. And you should know your property. If you can't shoot does on it, then don't, you know. Again, self-regulate. But Indiana, it's a good thing to point to because there are some interesting points there. Their doe harvest did increase. Their buck age structure blew up. I mean, it absolutely blew up, which was probably very good for hunter satisfaction.
Yeah.
There probably had an increase in funding from non-resident hunters. I know I've went down there and hunted and had a good experience. But I like to point to Pennsylvania because of the social culture. And
I would agree with that.
They about burned that guy to the stake. You know, he's driving around the state with a bulletproof vest on because he's
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Damn.
Death threats, you name it. Yeah, Gary Alt went through it. Because, to start, $1 plus an APR is major change, major shift. But you know what they did last year? Over 60% of their harvest was does. Leading the Midwest.
Interesting. I didn't know that either.
Yeah. We're the only one in the Midwest that shoots more bucks than does right now. Yeah. We're the only one. And we're constantly complaining we don't need to make a change. Clearly we do because we're the worst.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. We're the worst state in the Midwest. The worst whitetail state with the best habitat in the Midwest. Make it make sense.
Just so fucking sad.
It doesn't make any sense how somebody can sit there and say we don't need to change anything.
Yeah.
We're going down the tubes.
It's all in my brain. The majority of the loudest voices are and again, there are people that I like and enjoy as a human being that make the argument counter to a $1 rule. But my opinion is the majority of those arguments, the loudest ones, are emotion based.
I agree.
And I just have a hard. I will listen to it, and I do empathize with people who maybe have set up their life to have opportunities to shoot multiple deer on their own property. I feel for you, but it is still an emotional argument, and I respect you. I respect that argument, but it's not enough for me. It has to be data. It has to be Michigan based. It has to be facts. It cannot just be emotions for me.
So the emotion argument, again, is why I point to Pennsylvania. They had this, like, literally the same culture we have. But right now their satisfaction and hunter satisfaction is through the roof too. It's not 90% like Iowa's is, but they're up there. People recognize the change. They're happy they made the changes. Yeah. Deer on the landscape. They're shooting does. They're having a good time. But it always is the emotion argument. And there are people in our circle, me and you, who I've had really good conversations with about this that have said, man, like, I know you have the best interest in the resource, but I just can't get down with it, man. I'm not gonna try to derail it. And there's even a few people that have said, I'll even show up to support you. But I really don't want to lose my second buck tag because I like having that tag in my pocket. Yeah. And great conversation.
Sure.
I appreciate that so much, and not saying, well, I'm going to derail this. I'm going to do everything possible to not get this through.
Right.
Most people won't. That's not happening. But, like, I get that emotional side of it, and I hear them, and I empathize with them. Because, some of them are like, dude, I bought this. This is my property. I put so much time into this property.
I know.
But think about this, too. You got this nice piece of property you put all this work into. You're taking $2 off of it. If we're talking from a buck standpoint, that buck lives to be another year. Now, next year, now what? Because going to a $1 tag, we start thinking about the percentages. We talk about percentages like they're small. 6, 7. Sounds like a small number. But when I throw a number at you and say 22,000 deer, okay. So it sounds a little bit different.
Totally different.
So we're always talking percentages, but we don't realize, like, a percent has a number attached to it, and those numbers aren't necessarily small. And like a guy in the UP said to me the other day, he said, well, it's only 2.9% of deer hunters in the UP, and you lower peninsula guys just don't understand our tradition. I understand your tradition, for one. But for two, if there's anywhere in the state you shouldn't be shooting 2 bucks, I'll tell you it's in a low deer density area like the UP. And 2.9% when you have low deer density and heavy winters and all these problems is very significant.
Absolutely.
Every deer matters.
Every deer matters. And if we really want to talk about lack of hunters, let's say the quality of the experience goes up and we bring in a higher non-resident concentration. And I know there's been the argument, well, I don't know that we necessarily want more hunters on the landscape. Well, if the deer numbers increase and the experience goes up and those people come into town, they're going to be spending the money that you are claiming we're about to lose. That money will then come into town and could hypothetically reinvigorate some of these cities that have been struggling because people don't have snowmobiles anymore, and they don't go up to snowmobile camp like they used to because the winters aren't necessarily as attractive as they once were. And the deer camps that are now no longer there and they're not spending money in town at Rita's Pies and Corn Dogs. Maybe Rita will open her stand back up and she will have pies and corn dogs again for the out-of-state hunter who's now traveling here to buy an out-of-state non-resident tag at a premium to hunt a deer herd that is then improved over the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
God bless Rita and her corn dogs.
God bless Rita and her corn dogs. Yeah. No, 1,000%. And I agree with the argument that we don't want an influx of non-resident hunters. Like, I don't want to see what I see when I go to Illinois and I see trucks from Louisiana and Alabama and Oklahoma, South Carolina. I don't want these guys on every piece of public in Michigan. But what I will say to that is that Michigan has way more public lands than these other states have. And last year we sold 24,000 non-resident tags.
That's a lot.
Okay.
That's a lot.
Now, to put that in perspective, when I hunt Illinois, I see all those license plates. I never see those license plates in Michigan. Illinois capped out last year at 25,000. We capped out at 24. Or we didn't cap out, but that's what we sold.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have a lot more land to stretch out on than Illinois does. Let's start there. So we're already not having a problem. But say we see an influx of non-resident hunters. Again, us being in the room, having a voice, can shut that down. And we can put a cap on things because we're seeing right now...
What is is there a cap?
I don't know that Michigan has a cap. But say we get to 35,000. Realize, whoa, that's a lot of people. We shouldn't be doing that. Okay. Now, the product's better, right? Increase the tag cost.
Absolutely.
Put a cap on it. Put Michigan first. I'm always about putting our own residents first and increase the tag cost.
Yes.
That's where your funding comes in right there. Not by stuffing more on the landscape. It's by increasing the amount of money that each person puts back in to the department, the local economies, like to your point, Rita's Corn Dogs, all of that. I'm all for that. Right now, Brett's making a note about Rita's Corn Dogs.
Rita's going to have a commercial here soon. Gotta make I don't want to lose those. Those good ideas. When a good idea pops up, you got to write it down. Yeah. So I am fortunate enough to hunt out of state, and I do that intentionally. And I will do that as long as these old legs will allow. And I will continuously pay higher non-resident tag costs for a better experience. I am not always successful. I've never shot a deer in Ohio, but I've hunted Ohio the last couple of years. I've been successful in Illinois. I will continue to hunt Illinois. That is not a cheap fucking tag.
No.
I go to Kansas. I've never brought a deer home from Kansas. I have paid a lot of money to hunt in Kansas for the experience. If the experience in Michigan should increase for non-resident hunters, they will undoubtedly pay a premium to continue to do it. I mark my word. those people that travel for a reason, and if it gets better, they're going to keep paying increased tag costs. It's the way it goes.
You're correct. So to that point, I'll say this. I've been going out of state 4 years now. I haven't punched the tag out of state. And not because I haven't had opportunity. I have had opportunity on some really nice bucks I would never think about passing in Michigan. Mm-hmm. Some of those opportunities have come early in my trip. Okay. Mm-hmm. I like to hunt too much.
You want it
to
all.
Punch a tag yes. on the first day of my trip.
Yes.
And I could show you like a deer that I've passed on the first day of a hunt that is, I probably should have never done it, might not have done it again. But I enjoy the experience and the hunting too much to just punch a tag. I just can't do it.
I know.
And I want to be there for the full week. I want to shoot a deer on my last day and then come home. And to me, it's all about hunter experience. And to you and your point, experience is everything. And if we increase that experience here, I would love to see that $475 tag cost go back in the community. Because, be honest, if you're driving 8 hours to Illinois or whatever part you're hunting, say 4 to 10 hour drive, you could drive 4 hours north and hunt a new piece of property you've never hunted before. It's not about Illinois. It's not about the name Illinois and saying I hunt out of state. It's about the experience.
The experience.
So if I could go to 1 year, well, man, I heard there's some really good bucks running around up there in the Leelanau Peninsula. I'm going to do that. Or Pigeon River or Otsego, the UP. Make the UP great again, right? Mm-hmm. We can spend this money in our own state. Because it's not about saying, I go out of state every year. There's no status to that. There's nothing there. It's an empty thing. All that is spending money. But we're spending money for the experience of the hunt.
Yep.
Bring that money back home.
Daryl gets a new steel chainsaw. He doesn't got to go rent one from Chet's Rental.
Yeah.
Rodney can fix the driver's side mirror on his vehicle that got hit by someone in a baseball bat who was mad at him. Green jeans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Tina, she can get a cup of coffee. She can get the new coffee maker in the office.
Yeah.
Like, that money will just get distributed around the state. Everything gets better. Everyone's happy. And then we will look back on 2025, 2026 as a pivotal moment in the state's resource, the game, as a whole. And I hope that it elevates the hunter as well, because I do find an excessive amount of trash left by hunters in Michigan.
Absolutely.
And I think that the more that the hunter feels that the quality of the experience goes up, the more they will then take care of their resource themselves.
I've said that so many times that when the biggest part of me, when I started hunting out of state, my biggest thought was that, where's the beer cans?
Yeah.
Where's the trash in the parking lot? Like, I've heard you say you found like tampons in the parking lot multiple occasions.
I learned that people use those as scent drags, which was mind-boggling to me. I get it now, but there was like 50 plastic applicators in somewhere over on the west side of the state at this public piece. I'm like, who the fuck dumped their tampons here? But someone was like, no. Those are scent drags.
Yeah.
But still, why did you dump them out?
Dude, I find an excessive amount of trash in the state of Michigan that I don't see in any other state. Mm-hmm. Any of them. Mm-hmm. I've scouted Ohio, Pennsylvania.
I do see it
Indiana, Illinois, Iowa.
Yeah.
I never see the amount of trash that I see here. And not just in the woods, in the parking lot.
Yeah.
It's like we just throw it out the door.
Yeah.
We have no respect for the resource, no respect for the land. Got to get back to stewardship, man.
Definitely. Well, what excites you right now, other than the fact that we are on the verge of change? Like, where do you see, let's say we're successful, because I think we will be. Let's say we're successful in the next 2 months.
We're going to be.
What's next? We have, what's coming up in April?
April 8th, the big commission meeting. I've been making this big push to fill the room on April 8th.
Yeah.
And it's at 9 a.m. West Campus, Lansing Community College. This big push, I want to clarify, there will be no vote there. That is when the wildlife conservation orders are being presented for the vote in May. But we need to make a showing at that meeting because they're going to have their mind up after they read all the information and see who shows up to support what. So that's why that's so important to have a showing at that April meeting. May is important as well. We need to be in the room for sure, but I think April is the one that's really important.
Okay. So then what happens between April and May? A lot of like a lot of thinking, marinating on it.
Yeah. And I guess to describe that process a little bit, the DAT had their recommendations, right? That they've made public with a $1 rule. The department, the DNR, will have a wildlife conservation order, a WACO, so call it, that'll come forward within the next, it'll probably be done this week and be presented in April.
You know the story of Waco, Texas?
Yeah.
Yeah, they need to come up with a better acronym than what you did. They should not be using Waco. I'm just thinking outside the box here. That's like naming your new group ISIS. Like, nobody. I would highly encourage someone to not use Waco.
All right, there's the Brett rant I've been waiting for this whole time. Yeah, and then the NRC will have their own wildlife conservation order. Not gonna say Waco on that one.
Perfect.
Come forward as well, and they can tweak, and theirs can tweak the department, whatever, and then they will vote on it, and they can tweak, they can scrap it, they can do whatever they got to do, because at the end of the day they have the sole authority over the taking of game in the state of Michigan. And after those are presented, all their different recommendations, they have like a month to reconvene and think about all that. And a lot of this has been going on for a year and a half. This has been going on since you were in the room.
Right.
So they kind of know where their heart is and what they want to do. I think they just want to see where the support falls, where the hunter mind falls. Because at the end of the day, this is like a three-legged stool, right? You got your DNR, you got the NRC, and you have the Michigan hunter. And we are a part of that stool. So they want to see, is that stool going to crumble if the Michigan hunter falls out from underneath it?
That's a wonderful analogy. Nicely done.
That was not mine. That was given to me by an older gentleman in the NRC meetings.
That does sound like an old man's wise analogy. So that was very nice.
Yep. Okay. He's old wise man. But yeah, that's where it's going to fall. They have, a month to think about it, and it's important that we show up and say our piece.
Wednesday, April 8th.
Wednesday, April 8th, 9 a.m. West Campus.
And you've said this, and I'll reiterate it here. If you don't want to talk, you don't have to talk.
No.
Just go there and be visible.
Correct. We need support. Not everybody's a public speaker. We need bodies.
Yeah.
And it's important. We've been speaking on this. Okay. There's a few guys in that room that are a whiz behind that microphone that I can, think of that have been doing this for years. There's a lot of great people in that room. I'm not doing anything new with what I'm doing. I'm just bringing attention to it, to the guys that have never been there.
Yeah.
And, putting a face to these commissioners, contact information, making things easier to do. I'm not doing anything that a lot of these older guys haven't been able to do. And I think that's kind of been a thing where people as of recent are like, well, you're doing this. And I'm like, dude, there's been people in that room doing great things for a long time. I'm approaching it differently, yes, because my generation is different than what they've done in the past. But there's a lot of good people in that room, a lot of great ideas, and a lot of care for the resource. So,
and I think it's important to say that there is also people in that room that do not want to see anything. They don't want to see hunting allowed at all. They want hunting to be stopped. They want to save every deer. Like the can't think of the right word right now. The counter to hunters, so the anti-hunter.
Yep.
Thank you. The anti-hunter is in the room.
1000%.
And so, although we keep talking a lot about pro one buck, anti one buck, hunter fighting, hunter coming togetherness, there are people there who don't want hunting to be allowed at all, ever, for the rest of time.
And people,
they're in that room as well.
100%. And we forget that. And we argue so much amongst
Correct.
each other that we forget that these people don't like either one of us.
Right.
And it's important to remember that. I'm glad you brought that up because they don't want to see either one of us fail. But you know what? I'll say this. I've never seen an anti-hunter get up there and talk about deer hunting.
Really?
Correct.
What do they speak about anything?
It's always about the coyotes, and that's the hot issue right now. But I have a theory on that as well. They don't have to fight us because we fight each other.
We're fighting ourselves.
Correct.
Huh.
And that's why they don't feel the need to get up there. We do enough damage to our own community that they can put their focus elsewhere.
How unfortunate. But at least it's recognized. Like, at least you've recognized that. So yeah, I think it's safe to say, like, you need to go there to be present and to be seen because the anti is also there.
Correct.
And if we don't unite in one way or another, they're going to become wise that we figured it out and we are working towards something, and then they will. We don't ever want to find ourselves in a situation where the anti-hunter outnumbers the pro-hunting community at all. Ever.
No, and we have states that are seeing that, and it's becoming a major problem, and they're just fighting to get back above water.
We do have states that are seeing that. Colorado.
Yep.
Oregon.
Yeah, a lot of those Pacific Northwest states are all struggling.
Very faggy over there. I'm not gonna lie, very faggy. I think that has a lot to do with it. I'm not gonna. Listen, you can love man on man stuff and woman on woman stuff. There can be a lot of scissoring. I don't care. That's totally fine. But I will say that's where it's happening.
It is definitely happening in the Pacific Northwest. That's all I'll say.
I know. It's okay. You let me say that.
Yeah.
I'll take the heat.
You're not dragging me down, Brett.
I'm not taking you with me. You stay out of the mud, Josh. Let me go in there. Well, what else is exciting you right now?
So it's been tough because this is the first year that I have yet to be out scouting. This, me, normally I'm out. I'm doing what I'm doing, and the way work's been going and all this sucking up all my time and all my time off. And that's what I'm excited to do, is get back in the woods. And hopefully next weekend I can get back in the woods and get back to like some relief and being myself and doing what some of the things that brought me into this, getting back down to that floor of everything. Yeah. Like, I'm excited for that, is just getting back out, pounding some public, finding some stuff. What did I miss? What can I do better? Constantly trying to improve. That's what I'm excited for, looking forward. And I stopped by the archery shop yesterday to kind of take some stuff back up there. And she was sitting down with a pen and paper and like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm planning the next one. And I'm like, okay, count me in. I had a blast at that event, talking to hunters and talking about, doing these different things. And to that point, there was 300 tickets sold. I didn't have one negative interaction. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier.
You did.
Okay. Yeah. Everybody was super positive, and I want to keep that going.
Well, listen, I just yesterday figured out who this person was. And I heard nothing about, I knew nothing of this event. Yeah. When Matt said he was coming down to help you, and I'm like, what in the hell is he talking about? Yeah. So let her know that I'm willing to get the word out. Like, I didn't know anything about it. Yeah. I could have definitely helped promote, sell more tickets. I don't know if that's what they want, but I didn't know anything about it. So I'm just learning about this through you.
Yeah,
so,
dude.
Yeah, man, that's
let's
awesome.
Let's do it, man. Let's get you in there and get a booth and get some outreach going. You and your brother can wear your Canadian tuxedos in there.
I do. I almost wore it today.
Dude, can I tell you something funny?
Please.
I was on my way here and I was like, where can I pull over and show up with a jean jacket on just to be funny?
I think Walmart is the only place you can go buy those.
I was like,
been so good.
I will shock him getting out of the car with the jean jacket on.
Oh, that would have been amazing.
But
so getting back to your roots, you get excited about getting back to your roots.
Yeah,
roots on the ground, figuring 100%. Some shit out, dude. That's awesome.
That's what I'm looking forward to. This has been a big undertaking. Like, I have a lot of work into this. I will say, so one thing I did at that event for outreach purposes is I compiled a newsletter, and I haven't talked about it too much because it's not complete to be sent out. It's pretty much there, but I passed around a clipboard during dinner, and anybody that signed up for that newsletter, I had some awesome donations that I was able to get from Latitude and Raiton Optics. Sweet. And anybody that signed up for that, I gave a ticket. And at the end of the night, I gave away like a full saddle setup. I gave away like a set of Raiton, like $700 binoculars, some t-shirts, hats, some seed, food plot seed. We had like some really big help with that. And that mailing list I'm going to put together, and it's already together. I'm getting ready. I just need to actually compile the list itself to send out. And I'll text it to you in the meantime, but I'm putting everything in one place for the sportsman.
Okay.
So I'll send it out monthly, and it's going to be everything from the NRC. And then the second page of it is a legislative report, and it has all clickable links for the bills that are coming out, my personal stance on them, and maybe why, with an article linked, like the baiting bills that are coming out. And then it has contact information on how you contact your legislators and who to contact. And you click their name and it takes you right to their email. And then with the NRC, it's got all their contact information, the wildlife conservation orders and what they are, with a clickable link, and you can go there and read it. And you can form an opinion, and we're going to put this all in one place to make it easy so people don't have to search for it, because people aren't searching for the information.
That's a beautiful thing.
So, yeah, it was a big work. Like I said, this whole thing was a big undertaking, but like we're at the finish line, and now it's like just maintaining. So it's kind of all coming together, and I'm looking forward to like doing more of those events and more outreach. And
how many people are helping you on that?
On the project?
Yeah.
Nobody.
Well, are you it's time. Daryl, the elder bug, just flew into my face, I think. Something got in my eye there. So listen, you have taken on a lot, and it is time and it is resources, whether it be material or financial. Is there a place where people can help donate to your the cause? Like, have you thought about that?
I have thought about it. Like, I think I'm kind of eclipsing that point now, because financially, like, yeah, it's all coming out of pocket, you know? And I'm not just talking about gas money and hotel rooms
it's all
and
part
going
of
to
it.
Lansing. It is. I've been very thankful, like on a knowledge side, that some of those people that have been in that room that whole time have helped me on the knowledge side of things.
Yeah.
Time, a lot of time in like designing and like all those things that I post on there. Like, I'm making all of that.
I can tell, and I don't know how to do any of that shit. It's amazing.
That, like, but now that I'm starting to step into like the event side of things and having booths, and I'm buying posters and getting brochures printed and cards and simple things like poster holders, and that's the stuff where I'm like, okay, well, what's the next step? Because I can't continue to just keep funding this outreach myself. Do I go 501 or something like that? I'm at that point, but I think right now I'm like, let's just get through May.
Okay.
Let's just get through May, and then we can figure everything out. I'm doing everything I can to get that outreach done, but time is like, man, I can't get enough time.
No.
Like, Brett, there's been days I've been on the phone for 6 hours of the day and talking to different people and explaining things, or trying to get support from different groups, and time is where you can't get enough of, and unfortunately nobody can help you with your time.
No, they can't, but you can allocate tasks and responsibilities. And I think what is going to happen is we're going to see change, and then there's going to be some maintenance involved in it.
And I've said that getting it passed is the easy part. Maintaining it and keeping it will be the hard part.
So I think it's worth noting that I think there's enough people, even in just our immediate circle of influence, that would be willing to financially donate to keep things running, big or small, is in dollar amounts, but also time and material resources. I think there's probably enough people in a small, immediate circle that could and would be willing to help. Because like you said, you're probably at a pivotal moment now. But once we cross that, the Rubicon, there's the maintenance thing. And I think once you can get across the hurdle, we can probably think about that. But I'm interested. So I'm sure there's more people that would be willing to. So again, I don't want to be so naive to think that once we get this cross, it's over.
No, it's not over.
And so
we're going to be in that room for a long time, man.
Yeah. And it's something that I hadn't thought about till we were having this conversation today, is that it is not an easy task, the things that you have done and will do. And you may desire a team of people at some point to help problem solve.
Well, like I said, on the problem solving front, I am not alone. There are a lot of good people in that room that have like, we are all together, tables round, we're all kind of helping each other with different things. It's the other stuff. And I'll say, Aaron was a huge help at that event on Saturday, like the connection with Latitude and all that. Dude, I was able to give a saddle setup to a kid that was like a teenager. He's one of the youngest people at the thing. Amazing. And lit up. And I couldn't be more happier when he pulled that ticket out that like it was the young guy and not some guy going, what the hell is this?
Yeah, look at this dapper.
Yeah. So, stuff like that and getting things like that can get people involved. Those are the things like, I couldn't afford to do that. Yeah. Just, give away $2,000 in prizes. Right. Like, so having people that can help out with things like that for outreach and stuff like that is a huge thing. And that's, why. On the other front, having guys like yourself and Aaron and the Hunter guys and Adam Lewis, Deer IQ, and even Vistison and Adam Miller, all this circle of guys that has
Yukon Cornelius.
Nate
Roosevelt.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Nate, perfect example, and also been in the room a bunch of times. Yeah, I'm forgetting Nate. That's terrible.
Right. I knew you were. That's why I threw it in there.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
I could see your wheels turning, trying to remember everybody. I'm like, he's not going to remember everybody, and he's going to hurt someone's feelings.
Yeah,
I'm gonna help out right here.
Yeah, Nate, I don't want you to cry. No, in all seriousness though, like these guys, like yourself, opening up your platform to share information has probably been the hugest turning point in the whole process.
I love it.
In the whole process, because so many people, like you said, listen to this while they're working, while they're doing that. And that points to like the generational shift and change in how we're getting information out.
Sure.
So for you guys to open up your platforms, like, man, I couldn't thank you enough. And all the other guys that have opened up their platforms, not just to myself, but for other guys pushing the same agenda. I know like Jordan, he's doing a ton of, podcasts in the past couple of days, Wild Spirits Outdoors, and these different platforms that are like just all about change, and getting the best things put forward, right?
Yeah.
Couldn't do it without all that media outreach. It's been a huge part of it.
That's awesome. Love it. Well, is there, where would you encourage people to go today? Not today, but when they hear this, where would you want them to go right now to help, to contribute, to get engaged? Like, where are you pointing everybody to?
I'm pointing them all to my Instagram.
Okay.
On the Michigan Whitetail Project, at the Michigan Whitetail Project. And then from there, like, don't stop there and look at that stuff. Go through there, get the contact information for the commissioners, and that's where you go.
Okay.
That's the whole purpose of that, is to contact and get in touch with your people that are supposed to be representing you. Mm-hmm. So go on there, get that contact information, and head to the NRC.
Mm-hmm. Love it. Get engaged. That's what this is all about. Be engaged. Again, he's not telling you. He didn't say, go follow me. He just said, go to my thing and get the contacts. I encourage you to follow along.
Thanks.
But go there, get the contacts, and get engaged and be a part of the solution one way or another. Just get engaged.
Correct.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite song that you listen to on the way to in the morning, in the dark? You're in the beast, the big white beast up there, and you're driving around, you're going hunting, what song gets you
Fired up?
I'm killing a buck this morning.
Probably No Quarter by Led Zeppelin.
No Quarter?
Yeah. That's
fucking
been
know
a
that
big
song.
one.
Maybe I do. I just don't know it's called No Quarter.
That's a killing song right
Are
there.
you a superstitious guy?
No, not at all.
So you don't have like a favorite? You don't have like a lucky meal when you're traveling to go hunting?
Nah.
Like a slice of Casey's breakfast pizza or a Nutty Bar?
No, dude. If I eat before I hunt, I'm gonna come down out of that tree stand prematurely. So, no,
So you're a no breakfast guy.
I'm a no breakfast guy.
No shit.
Yeah.
There's a few of you.
Yeah.
I
And
am
we all
not
keep
enough.
our socks when we
Yeah,
come out of the woods.
you have sleeves on all of your shirts, unlike me. Okay, fair
Correct.
enough. Fair enough, sir. Shut her down there, Josh. I appreciate you coming over today, man.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, can't thank you enough.
Yeah, I had a good time.
Me too.
I had a good time talking about it. Like I feel like I knew your stance on a lot of things, but it's nice to talk about it in person and kind of see kind of where it goes and just.
Yeah, we
Appreciate you
can
coming
text
over,
back
man.
and forth all we want, but
Yeah.
like you said, when you get in front of somebody, you can
Yeah.
have a good conversation.
Yeah.
And it just flows like a conversation, man.
Yep.
So
And I am willing to have a counter argument on this podcast. I just don't want it to be aggressively emotional. I want it to be data, and I want it to be apples to apples as best as possible, even though I don't think there's a true apples to apples because we are a unique state in what we have on the landscape. So if anybody's got a counter argument to this, I'm willing to have them on too. I will not be confrontational. It's just conversational. But man, I appreciate you coming over.
I can't thank you enough, dude. Thanks again.
Yeah, man. We'll talk soon. And thanks everybody for listening.